We've got another really exciting interview for you this morning. I am joined by the wonderful Atira. Thank you for coming on.
For having me.
This should be a really fun one. I feel like there's just such a cool story here about kind of your journey in Starcraft. And this is one where, I actually kind of know a lot of the answers to some of the things that I'm going to ask you. But obviously, maybe not everybody watching live or, on YouTube or listening on YouTube knows this stuff. So I'm just going to pretend that I don't know. And yeah, just kind of dive into some of these things. So, just right off the bat, how do you kind of describe what you do on Twitch?
Um, lose at StarCraft. Although that's probably everyone's answer if they're not, Cyril or someone.
Right.
But yeah, I do mostly stream StarCraft just because it's the game that keeps me the most interested,
Yeah.
and it's fun to stream. It's fun to play StarCraft with other people, but I don't really like team games.
hmm
So you're kind of playing with Twitch chat in a way when you're streaming StarCraft on Twitch because they have a lot to say.
Yes, they do. Oh gosh. So, what kind of first pulled you into StarCraft then?
Well, when I was a kid, actually, I played with I didn't play with my brother. We only had one computer. But my father got into StarCraft. He was always into video games and he got my brother and I into it and I don't know. I would play pretty much any video game that was put in front of me when
hmm
I was a kid. Um, I played like Age of Empires, Dune 2000, which is kind of a game that a lot of people don't know even existed, but
hmm
Dune 2000 was very similar to StarCraft. I just liked RTS games in
hmm
general.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like probably about half of the people that I've talked to have said that, where they had, some kind of like previous RTS experience, or, maybe they played Age of Empires or Warcraft. And everybody else is kind of like, oh no, just StarCraft was it for me. That was like never really touched RTS before. You're actually the first person I think I've heard mention Dune 2000 though. That's really cool.
That was I don't know if it just wasn't a popular game or the other RTS games just overpowered it, but
Mm,
I really liked it. I think I had seen the Dune. I don't know if it was one movie or more movies, but I remember seeing a Dune movie
hmm
and the movie was actually really good. So when I saw the video game, I was like, "Oh, I gotta play this."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Were there any
Yeah.
other genres growing up that really grabbed you, or has RTS always kind of been like it for you?
I liked everything. I liked playing Duke Nukem, the 2D one though, not the 3D one. I didn't like
hmm
that. All the old, shooter games, Quake, um, and anything really. I think I played Detective Barbie. Like, there were those mystery games. There was an old game, I think it was called, Risen or something, and then,
Sounds familiar.
there were games called, like, Pandora's Box, and I would just play anything really.
Wow, yeah. So you
Yeah.
were you were pretty into it like most of your life then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I definitely took a break, as a young adult, but then I ended up getting back into it.
Yeah, yeah, super awesome. Was there anything in particular that kind of drew you back into gaming after taking a break? That's like you're the second person to say that actually. We kind of took time away and then came back.
I took time I kind of like high school into college, I wasn't really gaming at all, I didn't have time for it, none of my
Sure,
friends
yeah.
were interested in gaming, it just kind
hmm
of, like, fell off. I didn't even know Twitch existed until a couple years ago,
Uh-huh.
I thought people weren't really playing video games, I was just so in my own little
Mm.
world,
Yeah, totally.
um, but, I yeah, I didn't really purposely take a break or anything, and I got into other arts and crafts and working all the time and stuff like that, and then just kinda you see things on Twitter or wherever, and you're like, "Oh, wait, people are still playing this?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, very cool. Interesting. So, in terms of kind of your journey back, well, I guess not back into gaming, but more into the Twitch world for the first time. What did that look like? What kind of first made you aware of Twitch, and what were kind of those early days on Twitch like for you?
Oh, I remember this very clearly. I was following a fitness streamer that I used to follow, Bradley Martin.
hmm
Him and some of these other fitness guys used to do skits on YouTube and stuff like that, and I thought they're really funny, and then I saw he said he was, like, streaming Fortnite on Twitch. And I was like, "What? What does that even mean? What is a Fortnite and what's on Twitch?" So I, like, clicked the thing, and I was sent into this world of wonder that I had no idea even existed, and I was just like, "Are there other people playing other games?" And then I started exploring, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, I wonder if people play Starcraft." Boy, was I surprised. I was like, "Oh my gosh." I remember the first streams I saw was, like, Winter and, Adroseth.
Mhm.
You know Adroseth, he was one of the first StarCraft streamers. I remember going into Winter's stream and just being I was, like, so overwhelmed. I was like, "Oh my gosh, all these people actually care about this game that I thought only
Mhm.
I played years ago." So,
Wow,
yeah,
yeah.
that's how I got back into it.
That's so awesome. Yeah, Adraseth and I go back quite a ways as well. I think you were actually an earlier viewer of his stream than I was, if I
Oh,
remember
possibly.
correctly. But yeah, he and I are good friends. It's interesting to me that like you found I think of him as like almost one of the ideal community streams where like, for the whole time that he was streaming, it was like really nice quality, really chill. Like there's just a couple of us buddies kind of hanging out, watching our boy ladder, that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
and it's interesting to me that you fell into, Winter Stream, which is like there's 1,000 people spamming, the whole time, and there's, in jokes and overlays and all this stuff. Um, and then you found Adraseth. There's like an interesting sort of dichotomy there.
Um
Um,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I felt kinda silly one time because I just saw that this winter I didn't know anything about Twitch or how any of it worked, nothing.
Yeah.
I had been busy with my kids and whatever. I did not know about this whole world. So then I it just seemed like Winter was always streaming, but I didn't realize that they were reruns. So one time
Okay.
I typed in the chat, I'm like, "Does this guy not sleep
Yeah.
ever?" And someone's like, "It's a rerun." I was like, "Oh," and I felt, like, pretty dumb and just, like, didn't I just like, I need to be around less people right now for a very long time.
Oh, that's really funny. So, were those kind of like your two streams in the early days? You're kind of in both of those spots, and you didn't really
I
go
I
elsewhere.
I I didn't well, once I realized that there were, like, smaller streamers where we could actually talk about
Mm.
StarCraft and it wasn't, like, this overwhelming thing, I probably didn't watch a lot of big streamers,
Hmm.
for a while. So, yeah, it was mostly Adroseth. There's another Zerg called, Breadbeard, but I think he's
Yeah.
rebranded as Sergeant Sad
Sad sack.
Sack.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Um, him, I really just liked his content. He's also a parent, so we just got along really well. And
Yeah.
there are a few others that don't stream anymore, but I really just enjoyed at nighttime after a long day. I be on my computer or phone or whatever, watch some super relaxing streams. And some of the people in the streams were like, "Oh, do you want to play StarCraft with us?" And I was just like, "What? People actually want to play StarCraft with me?" So I was just so I was like, "Oh," I was so flattered. So I had actually played um Wings of Liberty, the campaign, and Heart of the Swarm, the campaign. I didn't really ladder on them, I was just so busy with life and
Sure.
everything,
Yeah.
and then I installed it again. I got Legacy of the Void, and yeah, I just got into it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, am I getting the story right then that you basically okay? So you stumbled upon Twitch right through this fitness streamer. Then you're like, wait, what about StarCraft? Because you kind of had in the back of your head like this love for RTS and love for StarCraft. And then as you're watching these StarCraft 2 streamers, you're like, I'm going to play that. Is that kind of how that went?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't I knew that there was, when StarCraft II first came out, so, Wings of Liberty, I believe, I was all over that. I was, like, so excited to play it, but I never because I didn't really have the internet a lot when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had a concept of ladder or any
Mm,
ranking or MMR system or anything. So I kind of thought StarCraft was just like Brood War style, like map making if you didn't have the internet and playing the campaign.
mm-hmm.
So when I got Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm, I still had no concept that people were playing this game
Yeah.
in a ladder system. So I remember completing the campaigns, and I was like, "Oh, what is this, like, 1v1 kinda thing?" I played a couple games, I was like, "Wow, this is hard," and just kinda walked away from
Yeah.
the whole thing. I was like, "That's not for me."
Uh-huh.
But then I saw that it seemed more achievable when I saw, like, Adroseth's stream, and he's kinda struggling, and he's like, "Oh, I need to do this and that," and I was like, "Oh, maybe anyone can potentially win a StarCraft game.
Yeah,
It's not
totally.
just the best of the best of the best." So, yeah,
Mhm.
it was very intriguing.
Yeah, it's so funny. There are a lot of parallels as you're telling this story to like my own journey a little bit. Like I remember when Wings Beta came out, I didn't get into it, but my ex-girlfriend did. We were together at the time. And so I like went over to her house to play it on like a laptop. And I think
Oh,
I played a couple of games. I didn't even play. I like Googled a build. Like, okay, what do I do? How do I win at StarCraft 2, right? And it was
aw.
like some Void Ray cheese nonsense that was like really
Nice.
overpowered at the time. And yeah, I did it like 2 or 3 times, and the 3rd time somebody was like, "That strategy's dumb. Here's how you beat it." And they like just annihilated me, and I went, "Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna do this anymore." So, yeah, I definitely resonate with your that emotion of like, "Oh, this is scary. I don't know if I wanna," you
Right.
know?
Yeah, exactly. It's very defeating just to go on ladder, and you have no idea what you're doing, and your opponent seems to, like, have it down to the letter as to what they're gonna do, and if
Mhm.
if you don't have something encouraging you probably, or if I'm not a very competitive person, I just love playing video games, but
Mhm.
having the community on Twitch or a little stream you hang out in and stuff to motivate you really makes the difference because you don't feel like you're just losing alone anymore, you're
Mhm.
talking about it with your friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a very healthy way to play StarCraft in my opinion, to be
Mhm.
so connected with everyone.
Yeah, I really like that that concept of like a healthy way to do it, right? So like you definitely seem really aware of kind of like the emotional piece of it, and that's always been something that like really fascinates me about the game, right? Cuz it can push our buttons in that way where it's like you can, even if you're like playing kind of casually or to unwind after your day or whatever it is, like you can still get a little wrapped up in it where it's I'm going to
Oh,
crush this
yeah.
person, you know?
Oh, yeah. I actually get more frustrated. I don't really have a lot of time anymore to play off stream, but when I used to
Mhm.
play off stream more, I got more frustrated when I was just sitting alone at my computer.
Yep.
I'd message people in my Discord, "Oh, this person did this." However, when I am streaming, I don't think it's good to get that angry in front of a bunch
Mhm.
of people. I think it's just a bad example. And there's nothing wrong with people that get angry, of course, just my little
No
thing.
judgment.
Um, but, their Twitch chat's kind of laughing and joking, and it calms you down.
Mhm.
It can also trigger you when they're like, "Well, if you weren't floating 5,000
Oh
minerals, maybe you wouldn't
goodness.
have lost." But
Yeah.
generally, they're lulling, dance gaming, whatever, it's all good.
Yeah. So on the subject of, kind of like Twitch chat reacting to your gameplay, do you have kind of preferences or rules around that you try to, nudge things in the direction that makes you sort of feel better when you're laddering, or do you just kind of let it be what it is and
That's a journey in itself
yeah.
because when I first started streaming, I was actually getting very frustrated with Twitch chat because I had been in my own little Twitch community of, like I said, Adroseth and a few others, and I had maybe not experienced the full extent of what Twitch chat is capable of.
Yep.
So when I had people come in like, "Oh, you're trash," and all that,
Oh.
I would just be like, "What? I would never say that to someone. How could you say that? You don't even know me."
Yeah, yeah.
So it was very shocking. And then the backseat gaming, at first, I liked the backseat gaming because it was actually helpful, and then when I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do, it was getting very annoying because
Mhm.
it felt like nothing I was doing was good enough. So I actually started to say, like, "No backseat gaming, no backseat gaming," and then I remember Just X. Oh, I forget
Just
his,
Jordan.
yes, yes. He came into my stream one time. I think it was on my stream or on Discord, I forget. And he goes, when you're a low level player, like I think I started streaming in silver or gold league, he said you
Mhm.
were inviting backseat gamers because they are so desperate to help you. They're not being malicious a lot of the time. They're not trying to hurt you or put you down. They're just sitting there so frustrated because they're probably in platinum or diamond and they know a little bit more than you. And when I thought about it that way, the backseat gaming just instantly became less annoying. Not
Mm.
that it doesn't get annoying to this day, but having that mentality really helped me
Yeah.
because I ended up stumbling upon a streamer who was even like in a lower league than me. And I wanted to type, your buildings are burning, repair them.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I was like, that's what people are doing. They're not
Mhm.
trying to be mean necessarily.
Right. Yeah, it's so funny, right? When you feel that emotion and you're like, "Okay, I understand the place that it's coming from." For me, it even though I understand it, it doesn't really help. Like, if I don't know, I guess for me, the one that bugs me more isn't so much people being like, "Oh, no, lift that into your warp prism, you're gonna lose it, you're floating money." It's more when when I'm looking at the replay and they're like, "You could have won at 17 minutes into the game," and I'm like, "Okay, hold on. Let's talk about when I didn't wall off my base against this early pool at 2 minutes. Can we talk like that's the part of this replay that matters, right?" So that's where I get tilted is when people are like convinced that, oh, it's because brood lords are overpowered. It's like, no, 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 no. This game was off the rails at the beginning. Like, what are you talking about?
You
But
get a different feeling too when you're the one in the game.
mm,
They're the ones just sitting with their feet up, not stressed because 'cause they're not in the game. They have that extra few seconds to think,
yeah.
"Oh, they should have done that, they should have done." You don't have that when you're
Mhm.
in the game. And then, like you said, when you're watching a replay now, you've got the whole map wide open so you can see everything. So it is
Yep.
easy for Twitch chat to be like, "Well, why didn't you just attack there? You could have won." Well, we
Right.
didn't know what we know now.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I
Oh
I
gosh.
I can see, especially too, as you get higher up and better at the game, how frustrating that is.
Mhm.
I It's also refreshing to see people do this to people like Scarlet and Cyril, and
Yeah.
when you see them backseating those, forces of nature in Starcraft, you're like, well, people are just gonna say something no matter what. Like
Mhm.
Scarlet does not need anyone's advice.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh, that's so funny. So on the subject of kind of that thing you said where it's like you have those extra couple seconds, right? Where it's like it's so much easier to process it when you're watching versus when you're in it like
Yeah.
um have you ever or do you often watch your own streams back and whether it's to make a highlight or just to see hey what happened in that game or do you just kind of like stream it and then it is what it is and you're done?
I do not like watching myself. I don't know. I don't like
Mhm.
hearing my voice.
Uh-huh.
I don't like, I don't know. I'm one of those people that's just like, I can't watch VODs
Mhm.
of myself unless I really have to. Uh, I'm probably just not meticulous about that sort of thing, though.
Mhm.
There's been times when I've listened to a VOD and I'm like, "Oh, my microphone was, like, here instead of here," and it
Uh-huh.
really threw off the sound, I get really angry.
Yeah.
So I know people that do that, and I respect that. I wish I could.
Yeah, I only really got into doing that for exactly what you say. Like, is the microphone somewhere weird? Did I mess up my levels? Because you just nobody will tell you either. They'll just like let it be bad for 3 hours while you're streaming.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Oh gosh, and yeah, it's so funny because I'll watch them and I put it on 2x speed because like as you say, it's like who has time in the day for that junk, right? But um I'll be watching it and I'll forget that I sped it up and I'll think, "Wow, I'm playing really fast right now." And I'll remember that it's double speed. Go, "Oh my gosh."
It's
Like
so
it's just
funny.
because you watch it at such a different speed than you play it, right? And when I turn it to 1x speed, I'm like, "Oh my god, what are you doing? Like why does it take you so long to do these things? Like
Click
just
on something.
yeah, build the Templar archives for gosh sakes. Come on." Um
Yeah.
yeah, it's so funny. Let's see. I had another question. It just slipped my mind. It's not in my notes too. Oh, this never happens to me when I'm interviewing either. Okay, well, I'll go back to the notes. And so, how did you
Happens to me all
settle?
the time. I'm rubbing off on you.
How did you settle on Atira for your nickname?
Oh, no particular way,
Hmm.
just a name that came up. Yeah, I don't
Hmm.
really have a good story about that.
Sure, just liked how it looked and sounded, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, I mean, we all know that names that start in A are 5 letters and have a lot of vowels are good. So, let's see. So, what about, you definitely are somebody who, streams kind of to unwind after your day. It's a thing that's like a piece of your life. It's not your entire life. Would you ever, like, let's say tomorrow, just thousands of dollars of donations and subs are coming in, would you ever do streaming as your job? If, if you were compensated enough that it was worth it? No? No
No,
way, it looks like.
it's not for the reason you probably think, but,
Mm.
I do have really, really bad hand and wrist pain,
Oh,
like,
no.
really bad on
Yeah.
both of my hands, and it's not from playing Starcraft at
Mhm.
100 APM or anything silly like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I used to crochet a lot and I made the
Oh.
Protoss banner, and
Mhm.
I used to crochet, like, big blankets, and I sold things online,
Mhm.
and, I really hurt my wrists when I
Mm.
did that, so I can't really play any video game for, like, more than an hour or 2 without getting pain.
Oh, wow.
I've been for testing, I've had, like, ultrasound and everything done. It's supposedly not carpal tunnel. Nobody knows what it is. I mean, it
Oh,
can only be a
gosh.
couple things, but I went
Right.
to chiropractor just to see if they had any idea. I even did
Mhm.
acupuncture.
Yeah.
So they put needles all up here
Oh, wow.
and nothing has helped. The only thing that helps is running like super cold water on my wrists and hands, which
Mhm.
I was told that means it's nerve pain
Mm.
if it numbs it like that,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I even went to a
Wow.
specialist and the specialist offered to test with needles to see, like, what nerves were doing what, but
Oh,
he
mhm.
said there was no solution to that. So he said, "There's no point of doing the testing because there's nothing we can do."
Right.
So I've just kind of, accepted that. Now, that doesn't mean anything because just chatting or you could paint or do whatever on Twitch,
Sure,
but
sure.
I think the stress of everything that goes on online is just so much. Like, when I'm scrolling down Twitter, all I see is streamers going, "Taking a mental health break, taking a mental health break. I can't
Ah.
stand Twitch chat. I can't stand my community." And it's girls, guys, everybody from
Mhm.
everywhere. Just it seems to really, really, really take its toll.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense. It is definitely not the, uh the easiest job in the world. I have a lot of respect for the people who do say, yeah, I'm gonna do this full time. And I mean, it's great for me as a viewer, right? Like, I get more neuro streams, I get more apoptosis, right? When those guys are like,
Exactly.
yeah, I can, yeah, up trees doing it. More watching for me, but yeah, definitely. I don't know. That's a tough life for sure. But yeah, I'm so sorry to hear about your wrists. I recently had kind of a more acute injury sort of here.
Oh,
As I was doing some like DIY stuff around the house, I did a dumb guy thing, and like, you're like, it hurts when I turn this wrench. Nah, I got to finish the project. Crank, and
ouch.
um, anyway, yeah. So I can definitely sympathize with, like, kind of as you say, it's like you go to one doctor and they go, oh, okay, well, we tested for that. I don't know. Then you go to another doctor or a specialist, or they run some scan on you. Oh, we didn't find anything. It's not carpal tunnel, and such headaches. I fortunately, going through a couple of Twitch and Twitter doctor friends,
They're the
got kind
best.
of, yeah, got their take on it. It's amazing the community of people that we have around StarCraft, where it's like, I mean, I've had, like, I've needed to talk to a lawyer before about, like, contractual stuff, and had one through StarCraft. Like, um,
Right.
it's incredible the help that you can get, just, different professionals and stuff who all love it.
Yeah.
But
Are you feeling better now?
yeah, so
Oh,
sorry, I
good.
totally derailed myself, but yeah, through talking to them, I feel like I kind of got a better plan than what I was able to through, like, my actual doctor and
Oh,
insurance and stuff.
good.
Yeah, so I'm finally laddering again, but gosh, yeah, I really, again, I feel that emotion of, like, what you're
It's
talking about, where
it's
it's like,
frustrating, yeah. I
yeah,
I
it's like,
wish I could just if I have a day where I don't have to do much, I wish I could just play, like, 5 hours of
mm-hmm,
StarCraft, but I can't, so it's yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, I'm kind of curious actually to learn more about how you process having kind of such a limited amount of time physically to play. But before I go there, I think maybe I should understand better your goals in StarCraft, right? So like you kind of said before that it's a thing to unwind, it's a thing to relax, but at the same time, are you trying to get higher and higher in your skill or your rank, or are you kind of just it is what it is?
Go back and forth with that.
Yeah.
If something happens, so for example, in Felicity's community, I think it was last year or something like that. I was playing in the Chobo League and I had to have 40. I don't even know if that was the league. I think it was the league, but I had to have 40 ranked games to
Ah.
qualify to play in their little clan wars or whatever
Mhm.
that was. Um, so I ended up doing all these games, and then I was actually getting better and better by the end of it, and I was finally playing ranked again, and then I ended up, like, getting diamond and stuff like that. So sometimes these little things will come that really kind of force me and push me along, and then
Mhm.
I'm super motivated, and then, what happens when you get a promotion in StarCraft, you just lose and lose and lose right after.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I don't I kinda take it one day at a time lately, especially with, coronavirus and everything just bringing
Mhm.
everybody down. I don't see myself ever being like masters or anything in StarCraft. I think um when I have a little bit more time, I'd like to, you know, I've gotten Diamond 3, so maybe Diamond 2, but I don't have any big StarCraft goals, I'd
Mhm.
say. And it's also very depressing just the way Blizzard is behaving with
Yeah.
StarCraft and no new maps, and
Mhm.
there's kind of things just, like, pile on to
Mhm.
give people that more casual feeling about the game, I think.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And the thing about getting the promotion and then you lose and like, oh, that is so real. Like I feel like every time I get promoted, it's almost like I can't wait to fast forward. It's because you always do the thing where it's like you drop right back out of whatever rank you just got, and then eventually you climb, and it's like, okay, I can be a confident Diamond 3 now, right? Or I can be a confident Plat 1. And I actually really love being in the middle of a league where it's like, I don't have any fears or worries about getting demoted down to the next. Like, I'm never going to lose that many games, right?
That's actually true, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the sweet spot because you're like, okay, I hit this league a little while ago. I felt good about it. I feel proud to be like right now. I'm in that spot with Diamond 2 where it's like pushing to Diamond 1 right now, and I've attained it in the past, but pushing to Diamond 1 right now feels a little hard.
Right.
Sitting in the middle of Diamond 2, I feel confident. I can beat those other kids on the ladder at Diamond 2, you know? But but I don't have that fear of, oh, I'm close to Diamond 1 or I don't know. It's the sweet spot, I feel for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, no, I understand. I'm in a bad spot because I'm constantly between Platinum 1 and Diamond 3,
Mm,
and then, uh constantly getting demoted back into platinum because I don't get to play StarCraft for, like, a few days or a week,
mhm.
and then you lose that skill so fast. Even
Yeah.
just not playing for a few days, you come back to StarCraft, you're like, "Oh my gosh, what game is this?"
Right, yeah. Oh gosh,
So
yeah, I'm really bad at forgetting like really simple stuff. Like I'll forget like my first gas because I was talking to chat and then just go, "Oh no." Like
exactly.
I I do all these shows about learning in StarCraft. Like you'd think I'd be better, but I'm not, you know.
Reading and talking to Twitch chat is so much fun, and it's the biggest, um what do they call it? Like a handicap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you can't function properly to play StarCraft when you're reading Twitch chat because your brain can only do so many things, and, you've got Lulu 511 trying to tell you about, "Oh, why is your pylon going there?" And then there's people arguing or someone gets into a fight and like, you're getting medevac dropped, and then you see Twitch chats arguing about are fruits or vegetables better, and
Right.
you're like, "Knock it off, guys."
Can't we all get along?
And someone's like, "Sent you a DM." Like, "I'm
I'm
playing."
literally in a ladder game right now. I can't read my DMs. Come on. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. So, okay, having established at least that you do get kind of pulled down this rabbit hole that I do of like, oh, I want to get better, want to get stronger, how do you approach that given that, there's this physical limitation, not even necessarily, hours in the day or free time, which is what it is for a lot of people, but like physically you have to think about, how many games can my body do in a day? Do you like think about the game when you're not playing it? Do you just say, "Hey, it is what it is. I have the limits that I have." How do you like work through that?
I was very upset about it about a year ago. I was
Mhm.
really, really, really upset, and that's
Yeah.
when I was actively trying to fix my wrist pain, going to acupuncture. I hate needles, so the fact that I would have someone shove and the acupuncture on your hands and wrists really, really hurt.
Mhm.
And the fact that I thought that it would be a good idea to get myself poked with needles so that I could still play even if I wasn't streaming it, just to be able to play StarCraft because it's
Mhm.
such a fun game. I mean, I really tried, and it was definitely kinda depressing
Yeah.
for a while because I'm like, I really have to make the most of the games that I play,
Mhm.
but I also only get a little bit of time to even play, so I'd rather stream it, and then I like chit-chatting with everybody. So, I kind of had to just settle down a little bit, not worry so much about if I'm improving, and
Mhm.
try and make the most of the games when I'm doing them. I haven't been doing that lately just because lately I've been like, whatever, we're all stuck at home because of Corona. I'm fully gonna just interact with Twitch chat and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I think that's all you can do in that situation is that if you can play 5 games of StarCraft, you have to play 5 games of StarCraft, not 5 games of hey Twitch chat and listening to the backseat gaming.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Let's see. So, diving a little bit deeper on the StarCraft specifics, because these are kind of fun to talk about too. And again, I definitely know some of these answers to these questions I'm going to ask you, but not everybody does. Do you have a preferred playstyle?
Yeah, so and I can actually give you the history of that too. So the reason why I love my charge lot all in is because of Adroseth,
Uh huh.
because he taught me that build because when I reinstalled StarCraft again, I started playing. I just didn't have a lot of time, kids, work, everything, and I'm like, "What is a build that I can do that's kinda quick, but I don't wanna, like, be full out cheesing," because I don't
Yeah.
think that's fun for me
Hmm.
anyway.
Hmm.
So we reviewed this charge lot all in, and he showed me how to do it, and I just got so, addicted to it, and, I thought it was just the most fun little build in the world, and then I started, um, changing it up for different matchups and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Like, originally, we didn't have Archons or anything in the build, but when I'm doing it against Terran, it's very important to have some Archons, to help get through tanks and
Yeah.
just to be annoying because Terrans.
Yeah.
It's really fun to irritate them. So, and
And
then with
easy to do.
Zerg, one of my friends recommended to add to Immortals into the build. So I have a
Hmm.
little bit of a different way that I do it for each matchup, but,
Yeah.
I definitely like timings or all-ins.
Hmm.
I don't really like outright cheesing unless I'm kind of in the mood for it. So, like, four-gating and cannon rushing isn't really my style, but I'm not against it at all. I don't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
long games.
Hmm.
I once a game gets past about 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, "Well, I've had enough of this."
Hmm. Yeah. I'm exactly the same way. I think almost notoriously. So we both have kind of a similar reputation in that way of really liking us some timing attacks. Um,
Nothing wrong with that. StarCraft is a fast and quick game.
yeah.
There's plenty of other video games that if you want like Age of Empires, if you wanna play an hour-long game,
Right.
there you
Yeah.
go.
And excuse me, gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
And it's not like you can't play a long game of StarCraft if you want to. I mean, people can have
Mhm.
that play style, and I can have
For
my play
sure.
style of trying to not let them get there, and we can just see who wins, right? Um, do you ever end up in those long games where it's like you tried your all in, it didn't kill them, but you're not quite like it didn't not work either. Like that in between space where it's like I killed a bunch of workers, but the game's not going to end. Oh gosh, now what?
So I kind of sigh. I have to evaluate the situation. I have to evaluate so if it's a PVT, for example, I have to
Yeah.
evaluate, are they putting up turrets yet?
Mhm.
Because sometimes they don't start putting up turrets or they don't have a, engineering base, so they can't put up turrets.
Mhm.
So I kind of evaluate, are they having turrets? Are they smart enough to have a Viking at the edge of their base to
Uh-huh.
deter my warp prism, or even smarter, a cyclone, I suppose, well, depending on how good their micro is, but so I'll kind of evaluate, like, are they gonna be prepared for me to fly in again with more charge lots?
Right, yeah.
If they are, sometimes I'll just keep going and just
Mhm.
laying on the charge lots and hope for the best, but especially with Zerg, if that attack fails in PvZ, you're in a bit of
Mhm.
trouble.
Yeah.
With Terran, you can kinda get away with it, but with Zerg, they can just start making a ton of roaches and walk right over and you're doomed.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
kinda depends.
Yeah, makes
I
sense.
I won't I don't drag out games, though. I'm very rarely one to be like, "I'm gonna micro my last worker and win."
Mm,
I'll
yep.
just be like, "No, no, no, let's not do this. You played well, take the win."
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's another interesting one that I feel like as a streamer gets really controversial, right? People laddering in the privacy of their own, bedroom, they don't have this problem, but we have this problem of streamer, you weren't dead. Why did you GG out? You could have beaten that.
Oh, yes.
So
That
how do you think about that one?
Okay, sometimes I do it on purpose just to trigger my chat if they're being annoying. If my chat is really pissing me off, I know sometimes I do not need to leave the game, and I leave, and I feel so evil in my head. I'm like, "I got you guys. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't make me stay in this game." And they're getting so angry. "How could you leave? Oh my
Oh, that's
gosh."
so funny.
I don't do it a lot, but sometimes if they are driving me up the wall, I'm like, "I'm leaving this game. I am not
Mhm.
gonna go to carriers like y'all are telling me to do."
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like there really is chat's joking about that being a power move, but like in a funny way, it kind of is, right? Because it's like, look, it's my ladder game. If I don't feel like playing late game, I'm not gonna play late game. I could get the MMR back. I could play 2 games, win them both, and the time it's gonna take me to win this stupid game with carriers would be further ahead. Like, there's no reason, not to do that, especially if you're
Yeah.
just not having fun. Like some of these games where people are like, I'm going to turtle, and if you win this game, it's gonna take you an hour and a half. And I'm like, you know what? Take it, buddy. You could just have that one. Like,
Exactly, and sometimes even their names, like, I always look at the name of who I'm playing against, and
hmm
sometimes it'll be like, I don't know, it'll be something like, I like turtling," or
yeah.
"BCs are great," and I'm like, "Oh gosh, please be a cheese, not
hmm
not BCs are great at 30 minutes in the game."
Right. Yeah, yeah. I hope its BCs are great at 3 minutes, right? Like,
Right,
I hope
because
it's
then
two BCs.
we can just move along,
right.
but
Oh, that's super funny. Um, so let's see. Is PVT your best matchup then? It sounds like you have like the follow up to your all in a little bit better in that one, maybe?
I haven't played ranked in so long, so I don't
Mm.
know what my best I think my best is probably PvT
Mm-hmm.
just because, Terrans do not like charge slots being warped in at the end of their base, along with Archons a minute later, and
Mm-hmm.
the way I mean, this probably only applies to Platinum and Low Diamond, but the ways Terrans kind of set up their base is they're kind of I don't know why, but
Mm-hmm.
they're expecting the Protoss to attack from the front.
Yeah.
So they've got everything set up there, and then the back of their base is just like this wide open wonderland for my charge lots to hang out in. Zerg, you can't get away with that because they've got overlords and creep and
mm-hmm.
queens and spore crawlers and stuff like that. So Zerg, I do kind of just go in from the front with charge lots and immortals. But yeah, I like PvT in general. It's fun now. It used to
Mm-hmm.
be my most dreaded matchup, but I had someone in Twitch chat once say so the way I used to do this build, sorry, is I
Yeah.
used to attack from the front even with my warp prism and everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
someone in Twitch chat said, "Hey, tuck your warp prism into their back of the base and warp in or yeah, sorry, drive your warp prism into the back of the base and warp in 10 charge lots. You'll drive them crazy." So I
Yeah.
did that, and it was just so beautiful that and they get so angry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so funny. I very recently kind of picked up that style, and yeah, it's funny. Like there are some Terrans that you'll hit at that, around that MMR where if you do that to them, they just like flat out die. Like they just fall over. It's like it's never been done to them. They're so surprised and they're like, "Oh, that build is dumb, GG," and they just leave. Like they don't even fight you.
Yeah, nice build.
Hmm. It's like, why? Thank you. I did actually work on hitting that timing that you just died to. Like,
The reason why I think it's so weird when they get angry, like, it is a surprising build if you're not expecting it, I do admit
hmm,
that. It
yeah,
is very, very, very scoutable in my opinion,
hmm,
because I never have anything in my base to
right,
really prevent scouting or deny scouting. I
hmm,
don't usually even scout when I'm doing this build because I'm doing it, I don't really care what my opponent's doing.
hmm.
So, it's very scoutable though, like, you see 8 gates, and what and no third base, I mean, something's happening.
Right, yeah. You think I want to decorate my main base with these? Like, what? What do you think these
I'm
are for?
I'm judging as someone who doesn't scout, so I'm aware of that, but it is, if you're try-harding on ladder, you should be able to scout out that build.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I guess there's a difference too between, you're kind of like almost poking fun at yourself a little bit for not scouting, but like at the same time, what you have really worked on and refined is I'm going to hit a timing, right? I mean, hey, the scout is I fill your base with charge lots and then I know what you're doing, right? Um,
Right.
but if hey, Terran on across the map, if you're telling me that you want to go late game and you want to get, liberator range and all this other nonsense, get all these upgrades, right? Well, yeah, now you've made it your own job to scout my BS, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I just scout to make sure they're in the game, maybe check for an expansion, and then my job is done. Charge lots are being made. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose.
Yeah. So as you're doing that build, do you ever get the thing where they're flying across the map too, and they like plunk a couple of widow mines in your mineral line, like as you're hitting them?
Oh, yeah, I despise widow mines
Yeah.
completely. They just upset me emotionally, physically.
Yeah, they're a
Um
problem.
Sometimes when I'm really paying attention to the game, I'll
Hmm.
be smart enough to keep a couple stalkers in my mineral line, but I
Mm.
do really love that F2, so sometimes they get pulled along for my attack, whether I intended it or not.
Mhm.
Uh, Sometimes it doesn't matter because I've already warped a bunch of charge lots, I'm heading for their base. If they explode one mineral line, I've got another one down there, but it does hurt, and I have definitely lost games to that for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I find for me it's easiest if I hit them slightly before they hit me. So I'm just like really really like, okay, tighten up the timing, like build the stuff on time. And yeah,
Yeah.
it feels a lot easier if I'm able to do that cuz then they're the one panicking. Like, "Wait, I was about to attack and you're attacking me and now do I bring it back?" Like
I think a good Terran should be Widow Mine dropping.
mhm.
Honestly, it's so good against Protoss because we're trying to build our big expensive units and they're just flying with a little Widow Mine and they can just ruin your whole day.
Yeah, totally. I think it's probably especially one of those things, how like we're almost kind of saying this about the Terrans too. There's like certain strategies at a certain point on the ladder, like a certain rank, right? That it's like, yeah, people at this point don't have the skill set yet to be able to defend it. And I feel like Widow Mines are one of those where it's like, if you're in that like high plat, low diamond, gosh, is it really hard to like maneuver your probes away from that Widow Mine
You have
shot?
to be looking at your mini map, which is
Hmm.
something even very good players admit that they suck at doing. You have to get that pull and then sometimes sometimes even a Terran at platinum or diamond is just quick enough to zoom into your natural and you're
Hmm.
still dealing with what happened in the main base. So
Yep.
if I were to play a little bit more Terran, I'd probably try and learn how to widow mine drop just because it's so devastating.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, actually on that subject, how do you feel about off racing? Like is it a thing that you like to do a lot? Is it just a thing that you mix in?
Oh yeah, I love playing Terran too because back in Brood War, I played Terran and Zerg more than Protoss because I
Oh,
actually found
really?
Protoss kind of boring in
Hmm.
Brood War. I didn't play ladder in Brood War. Obviously, I played the campaign and I made maps and I could do that for hours and hours and hours
Hmm.
and hours. But I just found Terran. Terran is the first race you're introduced to when you play StarCraft.
Yeah.
Back in the day, anyway.
Mhm.
So you're introduced to it. It feels like the home race. It feels like that natural starter place to be,
Mhm.
and, I'd be surprised at anyone that played Brood War, like, right when they were a little kid that didn't enjoy playing Terran on at least some regard, just because of all the fun things that you can do with it and the
Mhm.
ghosts and everything like that, but,
Yeah.
Zerg I don't really enjoy too much, although I did enjoy it in Brood War, but, Zerg now is just I don't know, I can't get into it
Mm.
for some reason.
Mhm.
I don't know what it I don't know if I can't pick out any specific between Brood War and now with Zerg that makes it feel so different, but, um, I don't know. Yeah, but I do like playing Terran for sure.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's funny, I'm kind of the opposite. I have that thing where I'm like, my brain just does not want to get into Terran in StarCraft 2.
Oh,
But I can
interesting.
I can kind of do Zerg. Like I like the this is so silly. I like the feeling of injecting my bases. Like where you're like
Mm,
you do camera hotkeys and you box the queen and then you click the hatch and you go to the next one. It's just like a fun, like, yeah, I could do
like
this
a
really
rhythm.
fast. Yeah, the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
Um, but with Terran, like as you say, it's kind of the thing where it's like home, right? It's like this is what normal is in this game, where it's I have to use
Right.
a worker to build a structure, and then it finishes, and then the worker's like available to do more stuff, or I start
Yeah.
the marine, the bar moves, the marine finishes, and he pops out. Um,
Yes, it does have that very logical
hmm
flow to it, like, Protoss is very strange in that you can
yeah,
only build your buildings in the pylon area, I that is just so that's so weird for like, just even the RTSs that I used to play, I haven't really played any of the new stuff other than
hmm
StarCraft, I guess, but that is very weird because in
yeah,
other games, you can just build things wherever. Even the idea that you have to build on the creep is kind of weird
hmm
too. So Terran's definitely like the fundamental you should be able to figure even though it's the hardest race, you should in theory be able to figure this out.
yeah. From like a game design perspective, right? It's like
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
kind of it's logical, and then the other races are like, okay, we broke some rules and made it exciting, right? It's like it does weird stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you're actually the first person I've heard articulate that. I think it's a really insightful point about the way they did the game design. Um, and it's really kind of cool, right? And some of us, I see the Terrans sounding off in chat here. Some of us move
Oh,
beyond that. Some of us grow, and we choose other races. No, I won't make it like that. I'm not putting words in her mouth here. But let's see. So as you kind of are, sort of struggling with this, risk limitation, but you're really, very clearly passionate about StarCraft. Does that mean that you kind of spend more of your sort of like StarCraft time, for lack of a better word, when maybe, your wrists start feeling good and you can't play? Do you then spend that kind of just watching streams or watching tournaments? Or do you just like fill the time with other hobbies and interests?
I I have a lot of hobbies and interests, but I try to um I haven't been watching a lot of tournaments lately just because 'cause I've
hmm
been busy, but I
Sure.
do really enjoy other people's StarCraft content for
hmm
sure. I still enjoy hanging out in other streams and my friends' streams, stuff like that. Um, I wish more people in my community streamed
Yeah.
because, then I could hang out there and encourage them and stuff like that, but I have sort of sometimes when StarCraft is bothering my wrists, I'll kind of focus on other games or, like, I saw Juggernaut Jason playing Age of Empires, and I was just like, "Oh, I miss this game so much," and it's not I mean, he's still doing a million APM with whatever he's doing, but
Right.
it is kind of more like a little relaxed and, you're sending the villagers off to get the wood, and it
hmm
seems more calm in the first 10 minutes of the game. So I was playing a little of that, but, yeah, I really do enjoy just watching StarCraft content no matter what.
hmm Yeah, I definitely find myself like if I have to pick, right? If I only have so many hours of StarCraft watching that I can do. And if I have to choose between like there's big giant tournament going on and then there's, community stream number 4 kind of thing. I know that one day I will go back and watch that tournament. But community stream number 4 on, Thursday, the first week of the month or whatever, like probably I'm not going to be able to catch that VOD later. So I would rather hang out in chat in the small stream and just be like, oh, hey, that person who hangs out in my chat is streaming. I'd rather just watch them and, even if it's like I'm doing chores around the house or I'm working out or whatever it is, and I just like I hear the game end and I like run and get my phone and type GG and then I go back to what I'm doing kind of thing. Like um
Yes, I
I
can relate to
it's
that.
like I still feel like I'm there. I'm encouraging them. Like here's a pro tip for chat, okay? If you want to know what is safe to say to the streamer that's not going to upset them after the game, type GG.
For the game.
Yeah,
After the game, you
after the
guys,
game. Yeah.
not when you think we should leave the
Oh
game,
my
because
goodness.
there was
Yeah.
actually a week where I was banning people for that because before I'd be done the game, they're typing GG, like, when
Yeah.
I'm losing. When I'm
So
losing, I'm
frustrating.
like, "Don't tell me when I'm supposed to leave, I decide." But he is right, you can just say GG and or "You'll get him next time," or
Yeah.
something. It doesn't need to be some conclusion that you've arrived as to
Right.
why streamer lost the game.
Right. Yeah, just a little encouragement, "Hey, you did some really good stuff in that whatever." Like, oh gosh. Yeah, that's really funny though. Okay, so actually you gave me another idea of a question that I wanted to ask you, which is the sort of like we kind of touched on this earlier, but you start out streaming and you've never experienced different kinds of annoying Twitch chat behavior, right? Like it's just never happened to you because Twitch is so weird and it's so different than normal life. And then like over time, the things that you are okay with them doing kind of changes, right? Like you talk about this week where you just ban people for, premature GGing while you're losing, right? How has that been for you? I actually feel like I kind of just want advice from you here on this because I'm in a little bit of like a transitional period with that where like back in the day, I really wanted everybody who came through chat to have a good experience. Like I wanted them to have fun. I wanted to make it be whatever they wanted it to be, right?
Right?
So if they wanted to be all over me, backseat gaming, and oh, you should do this and whatever. Oh, that's a really insightful point. Protoss Man 420. Like, thanks for letting me know that. And now I'm just like, oh, like if you are making me not have fun, I'm just gonna tell you, hey, I like what you're saying is making me have less fun. And if they keep going,
Right.
I will ban them, right? Like and I wonder, like, is there life after that? Like, what happened after this week where you told everybody, hey, don't do that?
Well, I have a horrible memory, so I
Okay.
forget about a lot of the new rules that I
Mm-hmm.
implement. Usually my mods will kind of like jokingly remind me, or they'll
Mm.
like meme ban someone like, "Hey, you said GG and Atira made this rule a week ago," and I'm like, "Oh, I did. I did." So I'm kind of bad at enforcing my own rules, but
Uh-huh.
I also just I change my mind a lot about what I'm angry about one day or
Yeah.
another. So, just like anyone, there's days where that's triggering, and there's days where I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. Say your piece, Twitch chat."
Mm-hmm.
But I I feel like I've come a long way in terms of not interpreting things as insults that I used to interpret as insults,
Mm-hmm.
and also realizing, yes, I'm streaming at a lower level, so a lot of what the people are trying to say is they're not trying to come at me. They're trying to say this is what I would do if I was playing. And even still that can be frustrating because if they were streaming, they would probably get annoyed at all the little
Right.
comments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know because there's still days where I look at Twitch chat and I'm just like, "Mm, I hate everything."
Yeah. I
So
think
it's tough.
yeah, the mood definitely influences it, right? Like there's good days and bad days and kind of you're more or less strict. Like, yeah, it's an
I
interesting one.
also see I won't use any names because I don't want to use names, but I see streamers who are in GM who stream every day for like 6, 7, 8 hours, and sometimes they'll just look over at Twitch chat and see something that I think is not even ban worthy, and they're banned. Like, so, and I'm talking about like multiple streamers that stream
Mhm.
regularly every day, and Twitch chat will just say I can't think of an example, just like, a unit in your mineral line would have helped. Banned. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Whoa." So I don't feel too bad when I get
Mhm.
annoyed because these, veteran streamers who are in GM
Yeah.
still can get triggered by, little Tommy 420 in Twitch chat trying to be clever.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I think also like there's probably a piece of it that is influenced by how many viewers you have, right? Where like if somebody's bugging you and you have 2 viewers, you're probably a lot more likely to tolerate what they're doing. But if you have
Hmm.
2,000 viewers and somebody's bugging you, you're just like, all right, buddy, you're out of here. I'm sorry.
You're a
Like,
number, you're
yeah,
out. Yeah, I can see that. I can
yeah.
understand that, yeah, and if you have 2 viewers, that person might not have just come in and said one thing, they might have been actually talking the whole time and being nice, and they say something triggering,
Hmm.
and then you're like, "Oh, well, they weren't saying all that stuff before," so you're kinda
Hmm.
thinking, but yeah, you're right, when there's, like, 1,000 viewers and someone says something, it's like, "I don't care if you were nice this entire time, you're out."
Yeah. There's definitely I also think there's sort of a funny culture around bans right now. From Artosis's unbanned streams, right? Where it's like you can actually just make content now out of unbanning people for like silly
Yeah.
reasons, which that's a whole rabbit hole in itself. But okay, reeling things back, and kind of bringing this back to questions about you. So, do you have a favorite player to watch? It could be whether it's a streamer or maybe a pro player where you're like when they're in a tournament, like I want that person to win.
I have a lot of favorite streamers.
Hmm.
I really do enjoy when Scarlett blesses us with a stream. I think everyone gets excited when
Hmm.
she does that, and I think everyone kind of flocks over, and it feels like it's like red alert.
Yeah.
Scarlett screaming, "Everyone, stop what you're doing!
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop cooking dinner! Stop doing laundry! Stop working!" I enjoy her streams. I enjoy a lot of other streamers, though.
Hmm.
I In terms of tournaments, it's I don't it's whoever's playing is
Hmm.
playing. I usually just root for the Protoss
Sure. Yeah.
generally, unless it's like a friend of mine or
Hmm.
something, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense. Is there anyone who I think this is a fun one too? Is there anyone who will make you root against your race? Where you're like, oh, that player, like, is that Scarlet for you? Where you're like, if you see her playing, and even if it's a Protoss that you like, you're like, nah, I gotta pull for
People
Scarlet.
like Scarlet, Juggernaut, Jason, they're not Protoss, well, I mean, they can both play Protoss just
Hmm.
perfectly fine at a GM level too, but yeah, sometimes if it's someone that I'm friends with or that I just really like their gameplay, I'll kinda be like, "Okay, well, if they beat the Protoss, it's fine."
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You get that thing where it's like, either the Protoss wins or my favorite player wins, kind of thing. Like I can't
Yeah,
lose as the viewer. Let's
yeah.
see.
If you're friends with someone, obviously, you want them to win over whoever the other player is, even if it's Protoss.
Yeah, totally, totally. Do you have does anything come to mind if I ask you like what is your favorite thing about the StarCraft 2 scene? It could be anything at all. It's a hard one, I
Um,
know.
I used to have a different answer to this question, but my opinion
Ooh.
has changed a lot. I used
Okay.
to say it was such a great community.
Yeah.
I kind of have changed my opinion on that
Uh-huh.
for a lot of reasons,
Sure.
but, because you get more involved and you start seeing things and hearing
Mhm.
things and experiencing things, you're like, "Ah, not all roses and rainbows in this
Mhm.
community."
Mhm.
Uh, my favorite, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard.
Um I think I do really admire the dedication
Mm.
that StarCraft people really like StarCraft. They don't like watching other games a lot of the
Yeah.
time. Like, if I host a streamer when I'm done that's not playing StarCraft, I feel like sometimes I feel like what's even the point? Like, they
Mm.
don't want it. They want StarCraft,
Right.
which is kind of annoying, but it's kind of cool too because I feel like
Mhm.
people will never give up on this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Kind of a double-edged sword, I agree, where I get that same thing where I look and I'm like, "All right, I have 10 friends streaming. 8 of them have been streaming all day playing StarCraft, and now they're doing something else." So it's like, "All right, I can't really raid you because chat's gonna kill me if I do it." Like, what else can I do here? Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's also kind of cool in a way because, maybe there's some like brand new, 3 viewer streamer, and like they've clearly put in the work. They've got like nice camera, nice lighting, cool overlays. Like they have some stream title that makes me think that they're not going to be super toxic. And I'm like, oh, okay. If I give you a bunch of viewers right now, they're gonna stay because they want to see StarCraft,
Yeah.
and you're gonna do a good job with them. Like that's kind of a nice transition. So I guess it sort of works both ways. But yeah, I feel you on that. Like nervous. Like okay, this person's playing Hearthstone right now. I don't know.
I feel like StarCraft streamers are very, very supportive of each other
Mm,
in general. I feel like if you stream StarCraft, you're gonna make friends. You're gonna build a community of some sort if you try, but
hmm
compared to other games, I feel like StarCraft people really do stick together. They help each other out. They're more willing to host each other and
hmm
network in a genuine and friendly way, not in a way of just like, "Oh, I need to know that person," but kind of like, "Oh, they're what are they playing? What are
Yeah.
they doing? Oh, they're doing a build I haven't seen before." So I feel like a lot of it is very genuine. Even like the very big streamers when they're looking for someone to host, I'll hear them genuinely seem interested in the little guy that they're gonna host,
hmm
and it's very heartwarming. So I will give the community that credit for sure.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I've definitely, benefited from that a ton as well. And it's always so fun too, like chat gets really excited, right? Like I've even, like I have distinct memories of like raids you've given me and then hung around in chat and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Atira's in chat." They get really hyped, right? It's like it's a really fun kind of feeling of people seeing other sort of personalities in chat and getting more hyped and like, oh,
Yeah,
like that's the best, right?
I I think generally, yes. We do as a community really do enjoy each other's company, and it's a small enough community that you end up seeing the same names all the
hmm
time, you recognize each other, and it's very nice in Twitch chat. I can relate to what you're saying that when I see my community members talking and they're like, tagging each other, "Oh, you're here," or
Yeah.
this, you see, "Oh, I saw you in another stream," or something like that, and they're all chatting amongst each other. I'm just like,
hmm
"Oh, it's so cute,"
Yeah, yeah.
it's all the friends reuniting. I love
Uh-huh.
it.
Oh, I love it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, it's so fun. Like that's actually another interesting point. Like you can almost in this community, it's tight knit enough that you can like literally be a StarCraft personality and you don't even stream or make content. Like you can literally be a personality because you're in enough chats. People are like, "Oh, I saw you over on so and so stream, and now you're here. Are you following me?" Like just
Oh,
different stuff
yeah,
like that.
that's that's true. That happens a lot. You're in a stream and you go to another stream, you see the same people, and I don't know if that's kind of sad now because, like, it just feels like maybe not enough people are watching this, but it's kind of always been that way for the past few years in
hmm
StarCraft that, it's not necessarily that people aren't interested in watching StarCraft, it's just the people that are really into it are just into it and they
Yep.
wanna watch everything. They wanna see what's going on. They wanna support their favorite streamers. So yeah,
hmm
it's nice.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I know that we're pretty close to out of time, and I don't want to take more of your time than I promised you I would, but is there anything that I should have asked you that I missed? Is there any, am I doing a bad job here as an interviewer?
I don't think so. I actually didn't, even I wasn't exactly sure what you were gonna ask
Yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Totally. Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
meant to be more just a fun chat than anything. So I always kind of throw that question out and then I try to just ask something fun and interesting if the interviewee doesn't respond. So let's see. What is your favorite game right now besides StarCraft?
Oh, Among Us. Among
Yeah.
Us. By far, I got my little guy here.
Uh-huh.
So I'm actually one to get very annoyed at bandwagons when everyone's jumping on a game. Oh, what was
Uh-huh.
the game that came out a few months ago that had all the glitches? Um, oh my gosh. Everyone what was that game called? Cyberpunk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was up to here. I wanted to make it a banned word in my chat. I was just like, "I don't understand this game. I don't want it around. Like, you guys, all you do is complain about it. Just get it out. Get it
Yeah.
out." And then and then Among Us, I don't remember which came out first or whatever, but sometimes these games that come out and everyone flocks to them, it's just so irritating because it's all
Mm.
you hear about. But Among Us was different because Among Us was like no glitches in the game, super fun, wholesome, well, it's about betrayal, but kind of wholesome, game to play with your friends, so I jumped on that, and I'm not getting off anytime soon.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's nice, and I feel like there's something special there to games that are inherently social in that way. I'm terrible at it, by the way. Like, I'm the worst because I can't lie. I'm so bad at lying. But I do enjoy it's so funny. Even though, like, I can't actually do the, like, betrayal, like, I can't be the bad guys and win ever kind of thing. I do enjoy the other side of it where it's like the deduction and trying not to get stabbed and all of that. So like I'll still play it even though like I have to be the very bottom 1% of Among Us players, like humanly possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel the same way. When I get imposter, sometimes I get, like, mild anxiety because 'cause I'm like, oh no, I have to come up with a story,"
Yeah.
and I actually prefer just playing crewmate and then letting people fight amongst themselves. It's
Mhm.
so amusing, but,
Yeah.
uh I think you just have to put more hours in the game
Mm.
because you get a little bit more confident. When I first played Among Us, I used to stream it, and I'd be, like, freaking out if I got imposter. I did not know how to handle it. I'd stay quiet. I didn't know what to say. Now I kinda get more into the flow and try and have an
Mm.
alibi or something
Yeah.
like that. So it could just be, like, an hours thing.
That could be. Yeah, for sure. On the subject of streaming it, I didn't plan on asking you like questions about the question, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Um, how do you manage sort of like I tried it once and I found it really difficult to manage like the different audio channels of like, okay, I want to talk to chat. Okay, wait, but now I have to talk to the people in the game. Like, do you just ignore chat while you're playing Among Us? Or like how do you manage
I
your
haven't
microphone?
streamed in a while. I think I
Okay.
streamed it, like, 2 or 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
but I toggle mute
Mm,
on my I set my tilde to be, toggling mute, so I never really ignore my Twitch chat, even if I have to type to them
mm-hmm.
because they're picking to hang out with me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice, and, um, yeah, I just that's actually why I don't stream it a lot now because Saturday
Mm,
nights are my Among Us nights, I just wanna chill out, and streaming it kind of makes it a little bit more work.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So but yeah, if I was streaming it, I'd still interact with chat for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? It's like you'd rather not stream it than ever stream and not interact with chat. I think that says a lot about you as a person, right? Where it's like you're really valuing the fact that they choose to watch you, kind of thing. Um,
I actually burned my hand the other day,
oh no.
just with the stove, and, I played Roller Coaster Tycoon instead of Starcraft on Monday just because my hand was hurting too much, and
Hmm.
using my mouse hand was fine though, and,
Yeah.
people really seem to enjoy just Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I kind of thought, chat might be a little bit annoyed I'm not playing Starcraft, but they're just so sweet, and everyone's like, "Oh, I miss that game," and it was just like so I try not to there's nothing wrong with streamers that don't read their chat or that
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
interact because they're probably focusing on actually winning StarCraft games,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is fine, but, it's just because it's a social thing for me too, I really think it's important to give them that attention.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have always tried as I've kind of like, been learning about making content and trying to have my stream, I've always tried to like pay attention to like what are people's superpowers, right? Like what are the people in my community really good at doing as streamers? And I try to just like steal a little piece of it if I can. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, of course.
recognizing that I'll never be as good at it as that person, but it's like, oh, that's good. I want to aspire to that kind of thing. And I definitely feel that way with the way you treat your community and the way that you kind of nurture that.
Oh,
And
sweet, thank you.
yeah, yeah, no, I honestly I mean it. Because I feel like you really value them, right? And it's like in a genuine way, and people can tell the difference, right? Where versus, if I just say thanks, Fear Dragon 64 for the follow, right? Like that's kind of like you're just doing that because that's a streamer thing, right? But it's different the way that you interact with them, and I really feel like it's a superpower of yours, and it's a reason that you've grown your community as much as you have. So thank you for teaching me that. I really have learned a
No
lot
problem,
about
thank
that.
you for the kind words.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Is there anything else you want to say? I feel like we took our time. And I learned so much about you even although I thought I knew a lot.
I've been talking about with my community lately is just trying everyone just this isn't about me or my community
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
specifically, but especially in these times of like division and
Mm,
coronavirus and everyone having an opinion and stuff like that, just, you know, everyone as a whole just should think before responding, think before
mm,
typing anything or saying anything. And if you're gonna say potentially something mean, like, really try and put yourself in the other person's shoes to
yeah.
think, to, but before you attack them or say something, just take a moment why is this person saying that? Why
Mhm.
do I need to respond that way? Because seems like everyone's just getting into little tiffs and fights and
Right.
other streams and stuff too. I just see people arguing and tensions are high because of coronavirus and lockdown. But if everyone just breathes a little bit and it's just a little bit nicer. I know it sounds like such a silly thing to say, but it really does make a big difference
Yeah,
if
yeah, I
everyone does it.
totally, yeah, I agree, and I don't think it's silly. I think it's a thing that we need right now, and, hopefully now that we've got, kind of some end in sight here as vaccines are starting to finally roll out. I'm getting mine today. I'm hyped.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I feel like maybe, people can start to chill a little bit, but I definitely feel you. Like we're still in that mode where people are just a little extra grumpy, and if we could all just take a step back, it can make it that much better, you know?
Exactly. The old saying of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. It really applies to most situations and you can avoid a lot of drama that way and a lot of
Mhm.
getting banned from other streamers'
Yep.
chats and stuff like that if you just take a moment to think about what you're typing first.
Mhm.
And that goes for me too. I still say things and I'm like, "Ah, I shouldn't
Mhm.
have said that," but
Yep.
we're
Totally.
not perfect, so
The streamer will turn off the chat feature for you if you don't have something nice to say.
emote only mode.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Atira. This has been a ton of fun. I learned a lot about you. Where should people find you if they somehow are living under a rock and they don't know about your content and they're like, oh my gosh, this wonderful streamer, I need to watch her when she's live.
Type in Atira on Twitch chat. There's links to my Discord and Twitter and everything there.
Hmm.
I don't get to stream a lot. I usually stream like less than 10 hours a week, but I'm usually around Twitch in and out throughout the day.
Awesome. Yeah, I will. I was about to start spamming links, but it like misfired on me. I will definitely get all of your socials in the YouTube thing. And if anybody tuned in part way and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this Atira interview? Don't worry. It's fine. It's all right. You're going to be able to see it probably in like a day or two. I'll have it uploaded. Yeah, please go follow her. She is such a wonderful streamer. You will have a good time being part of her community. I promise you. And I mean, charge lots. What's not to love? All right. Thank you so much, Atira. Really, really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, it was a treat.